Okay, this is chapter 6.3, fractions and decimals on the number line. Essential question is, how can you use a number line to compare positive and negative fractions and decimals? Okay, so we're no longer talking about integers, we're talking about rational numbers. So in this lesson, you will understand positive and negative numbers and use them to describe real life situations, and we'll graph numbers on the number line. So let's have it. Okay, so here's example 1. Graphing negative fractions and decimals. Graph each number and its opposite. So A says to graph 3/4 and then its opposite. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my ruler, and I need everybody to do this. Okay, be very precise when you're doing this. No squiggly lines. Get a ruler, draw a nice straight line, move the ruler out of the way for a moment, an arrow to the right and an arrow to the left, and then move this up to use the centimeters as even numbers, or the distance between each little mark here will be the same. Okay, try to be as accurate as possible. And I'm just going to keep going like so, and there's my number line. Okay, so I'll just move this down here for the next one. All right, so I want to graph a positive and a negative. So we do want 0 in the middle. So I'll put 0 here. It's pretty close to the middle, maybe off to the right a little, but that's good. Now, the next thing we want to look at is when we are graphing fractions, we want to look at the denominator. That is what we're going to be counting in. So in this case, we're going to be counting in fourths. So if I go to the right, and I'll use green for positive, this is 1/4. And this is 2/4. Well, off to the side here, 2/4. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 2 times. So 2/4 is a half. So I go like that, 1/2. And then 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4 is 1, and so on and so on. Okay, so I'm just going to go out to 1 for now. And then I'm going to go the opposite direction too. So if I go this way 1/4, this way is negative 1/4. And this way is negative 1/2. And this is negative 3/4, and this is negative 1. Okay, and that's all I really need to label here because my answer is already showing we want to graph 3/4. So 3/4 is right here, and its opposite is negative 3/4 because it's 1, 2, 3 to the right, 1, 2, 3. So just remember that opposites are the same distance from 0. So there is graphing 3/4 and its opposite, negative 3/4. Okay, and so let's try it again. Now we're doing a decimal. So I'm going to put the ruler back here, draw a nice straight line, move the ruler out of the way, an arrow showing that this goes to the right forever and to the left forever. And I'm going to bring my ruler back up and put marks every centimeter, or I might even do every half centimeter in this case, but we'll see. Okay. All righty. So don't write what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to show you what not to do when you're doing this. If I put 0 here, remember, do not write this, and I go 0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, I should put zeros here. Don't write this. Again, do not write this. 0.4, 0.5. Try that again. 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. I'm not at 1.6 yet, or negative 1.6. I'm running out of room. So that is what you don't do. So what do you do? Okay. Let me put those back, and let me erase this. Okay, so let's put 0 there. That's fine. Now I want to graph negative 1.6. Well, if I think of 1.6, I could divide that by 2 and get 0.8. Or I could take 1.6 and divide it by 4, and 4 goes into 16 4 times, so it's 0.4 times 4 is 1.6. So if I go in increments of 0.8 or 0.4, let's do 0.4 because 0.8, it'd just be two spaces away from 0. So let's go in, let's make our unit of measure 4/10. Okay, so also let me switch to red. So this will be negative 0.4. And then another one would be negative 0.8. And this would be negative 1.2. And then this would be negative 1.6. And then this would be negative 2. Okay, that's going in fours, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28 if I continued. Then on the other side is going to be the positive 0.4, 0.8, 1.2, 1.6, 2.0. I should probably put a 0.0 there as well. 0.0. Okay, so now we're going to plot our graph negative 1.6, which is right here. Now notice what this is: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 1.6 again. So I'm going to put a dot right here, and I've now graphed negative 1.6 and its opposite 1.6. Okay, so whenever we're dealing with numbers, you do want to change your unit of measure to something that is a multiple that will hit the number that you are trying to graph. So now you should be able to do problem number 6 through 9 on your exercises. Okay, so here's example 2. Now, notice what it says. Compare fractions and mixed numbers. So we want to compare these two fractions. So whenever you see the word compare, we are going to come up with an answer that's either less than, actually that's greater than, less than, or equal to. Okay, these are the three possible things we could use. Okay, so let me just do this. I'm going to put that there, or it could be that one, or it could be that one. Okay, so I'm going to compare negative 1/2 and negative 3/4. So I want to do a number line. So I get my ruler out. So if you were to do this on your paper, okay, this will be A. And let me switch to black. And I'm going to draw a line nice and straight with a ruler. Put an arrow at this end like so, and an arrow at this end. Okay, and then move my ruler up to it and put marks every centimeter away. Nice and neat and equally spaced segments every centimeter. Okay, do not estimate this on a piece of paper without a ruler. It's just not good practice. Okay, I'm going to put 0 in the middle. Now notice what we're dealing with here. Always look at your denominator. We have a 2, we have a 4. You want to go with the largest number when you're using the denominator. You want to use the largest number for your unit of measurement. So I am going to, I'll start on the negative side, since these are both negative. Okay, so I don't even need to do this. So actually what I could do is move this 0 all the way over to here, because we're only dealing with the left side of 0. And so I'll use red for negative. And if I'm going to go in quarters, this is negative 1/4. Negative 2/4 is negative 1/2. Negative 3/4 and negative 1. So really, I don't need any more of that number line. I have my 1/4, which is right, negative 3/4, and I have negative 1/2. They're right here. Okay, so when I graph them, compare negative 1/2. Well, I'm going to graph it. There's negative 1/2. And negative 3/4 is right here. So I graphed them. Okay, so step 1, graph them. Step 2, compare them. Remember, whenever a number is to the left of another, it is less than. So now in answering this question, we're just going to say this. I'm going to put it in words first. Negative 1/2, this number right here, because it came up first in the comparison, negative 1/2 is to the right of negative 3/4. Okay. So, and I'm going to teach you a new symbol. 3 dots like this. It looks like a triangle. This means it's the same as the word therefore in math. Therefore, or so. So I'm going to put therefore, since negative 1/2 is to the right, negative 1/2 is, and then your comparison, remember, if we did a box like this, the book shows, there would be a box, and then we'd have negative 3/4 over here. Well, it's either going to be greater than, less than, or equal. But since negative 1/2 is to the right of negative 3/4, it is greater. So negative 1/2 is greater than 3/4. Okay, and or -3/4. So that's how you do a comparison. So okay, so now let me switch to B, and I'll try it one more time. B is to compare these two. So again, it's, oops, what is that? Crayon. All right, B is saying compare again, and our denominator is 6s. So we want to go in increments of 6, 1/6. Okay. So let me switch back to my pen and use black and make a nice straight line with the ruler. Put an arrow here and here. Bring this up and put marks every centimeter apart. Okay, and now I'm done with this. So let's get rid of that. Ruler's done. All right, so I'm going to start with an integer over here. We are here at -4. Okay. These two numbers are -4 point something and -4 point something. So we're between -4 and -5. So I'm going to start at the integer -4, and then I'm going to work through the rational numbers between -4 and -5 in multiples of 6. Okay, so if I go to the left of -4, it's -4 and 1/6, -4. And actually, this is a little crowded. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ignore every other. And let me change this to red, by the way, just for the video. You don't have to use colored pencils, but if you do, that's fine too. So here's -4. Skip this. And it's -4. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that'll work. -4 and 1/6. And skip one. -4 and 2/6, which is 1/3. Skip one. -4 and 3/6, which is a half. And -4. Oops, I'm supposed to skip one. Skip one just so it fits better. And this I'll put -4. Well, this was 3/6. This is 4/6, which is 2/3. Skip -4 and 5/6, and then -5. But I want that moved. All right, let me just erase this. Or actually, let me just do this. Okay, there we go. So -4, -4 and 1/6, -4 and 1/3, -4 and a half. Okay, and remember, I'll put these at the top, by the way. 1/3 is the same as 2/6. 1/2 is the same as 3/6. 2/3 is the same as 4/6. Here's 5/6. So see what it's doing? 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6. 6/6 is another one. Okay. And now graph these. So we're comparing -4 and 5/6, which is right here, and -4 and 1/6. And the 5/6 came first. So we would say -4 and 5/6 is to the left of -4 and 1/6. Therefore, -4 and 5/6 -4 and 1/6. So I just put them in the same order as these, and where the word and goes, we use one of these three symbols. So since -4 and 5/6 is to the left, it is less than. Okay, so that is how you do a comparison of fractions and mixed numbers on the number line. Okay, so now we're going to compare decimals, but we have a problem here. Well, not really, but you see how this is 3.08? That's 3 and 8/100. So if that as a fraction would be 8/100, -3 and 8/100. And this is -3.8, and this is just a period at the end of the sentence. -3.8 is -3 and 80/100, or 8/10. So if I were to go in hundredths, my number line, I'd have to have 80 marks on it. Okay, that's not a good way of doing this. So let me get my ruler for starters. We'll bring this down and let me make it a little longer there. And we're going to draw a nice straight line with your ruler and put an arrow at each end. That's how we always start. And then bring your ruler up near the line and put marks every centimeter. Okay, there we go. Let's get rid of this and delete. All right, so there is our number line. All right, so we want to start over here. Well, negative 3.08, and the numbers get larger to the left in a negative direction. They're getting larger, but they're getting smaller. The numbers are getting bigger on the negative side, if you will. So 3.08 is going to be down here. So let me start with the number -3. We're not going to go any further than -3. So here's -3. And let's go in tenths. We can't go in hundreds. We're not going to make 80 marks. Okay, so we're going to go in tenths. So this is -3.1, -3.2, -3.3, and so on. Okay, so -3.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, -3.8, -3.9, and -4. Okay, and I'll stop right there. So I really don't need all of these down here. So if I drew the line too long, you can always do this if you want. It's not necessary, but I will just for this. Okay, so there's our number line. Now we're going to plot the points or graph them. -3.8 is right here. Okay, and -3.08 is between -3 and -3.1. So what we really need to do is have in here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spaces, right? And we're going to be on the 8th one. So -3.08 will be right here, -3.08. And this is -3.8, right on the mark. So we're just to the right, not 0.1, but 0.08, if that makes sense, hopefully. And then we are doing, again, a comparison. So I'm going to highlight that. And that means that we say -3.08, which is this one. And here's the other one. So you say is to the right of -3.8. Okay, so we make a sentence and say where it is with respect to the other, and therefore we can say -3.08 and then make a box and then put -3.8. So since this is to the right, it is greater than. Okay, and that's comparing decimals. So now with me doing the last two examples, you should be able to do numbers 11 through 17 odd in your exercises. Okay, example 4 is a real life application. And it says a Chinook wind is a warm mountain wind that can cause rapid temperature change. The table below, right here, shows 3 of the greatest temperature drops ever recorded after a Chinook wind occurred. On which date did the temperature drop the fastest? Explain. So here it says to graph the numbers on a number line. So here is 14,000 feet. Here's some mountain, 14,000 feet. And here is 3,000 feet. So 11,000 feet lower down in this valley. It is clear and dry, and the wind is blowing from the left to the right. And so if this was a map and we're facing north, it would be blowing from west to east and dissipating clouds. The clouds are dissipating as the rain comes up here, and then the Chinook wind comes down the hill to a clear and dry valley. So that's what a Chinook wind does. So here in January 10th of 1911, the temperature change was -3 1/10 degrees Fahrenheit per minute. November 10th, there was a negative 5/8 degree Fahrenheit per minute change. And in January 22nd, 1943, negative 2 1/5 Fahrenheit degrees per minute. So we want to graph the numbers on a number line. Okay, so we're going to get our ruler out. So you get the ruler and draw a nice straight line with your ruler. Actually, let me change that color to black. And then draw arrows at each end. So there's our line. And then we are going to put marks every centimeter apart. Okay, there we go. And we're done with this. So let me delete it. All right, so there's our number line. And now we want to look at these temperatures. So we're all in the negatives. So I don't want to graph anything that's positive. So we're going to start at 0 and look at the denominators. There's 10, there's an 8, there's a 5. Okay, so there's really not a great way of doing this. So how about we just do like a quarter? Let's do a quarter, every quarter. So this is negative 1/4 right here. And again, I'll skip so it's not so messy and squeeze together like I did in the last one. So this is negative 1/4. So this will be negative 1/2. Negative 3/4, negative 1. Negative 1 1/4, negative 1 1/2. Negative 1 3/4, negative 2, negative 2 1/4, negative 2 1/2. Negative 2 3/4, negative 3, and I didn't go over far enough, so I need to fix that. Okay, so let me just do this and get my ruler back and try to do this as neatly as possible. Just need to extend my line a little bit further. Okay. Yeah, that's off just a smidge. So let me shift and just push it up one there. That's perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to, so all you had to do on your paper was extend the line a little bit and then use your ruler to make the distances even like so. So then this is negative 3 1/4. This is negative 3 1/2. Okay, so there is our number line. And what I want to do is graph these. So here is negative 5/8. Let's do this one first because there's no numbers in front. There's no integers. So it's between 0 and negative 1. Well, negative 1/2 is negative 4/8. So negative 5/8 is going to be right here because negative 6/8 is 3/4. So here is negative 5/8 right there. Okay. And then we're going to do, let me change colors. I'll just do these all in different colors so we can follow. So here is negative 2 1/5. So here's negative 2. And so it's somewhere in here. So this is 1/2 or 1/4. So 1/5 is to the right of a quarter. So let's just put it about right here. Let's just approximate that. So there's negative, oops. There is negative 2 1/5. Not quite 2 1/2 or 2 1/4. Okay, I'll put it right there. And then finally, let's do this one in red. Negative 3 1/10. Here is negative 3. Here is negative 3 1/4. So this is a negative 3 1/4. So 1/4 is 0.25, 1/10 is 0.1. So it would be less than halfway. It'd be closer to 3. So it'd be right here. So this is negative 3 1/10. And I suppose I should label this one as well. So let me label this one negative. Switch back to purple. Negative. That red doesn't want to go away. Cover it and it stays on top. Negative, and what was it? 2 1/5. Okay, so here is, and I didn't label this one. It's exact. So it's negative 5/8. So here's negative 5/8, negative 2 1/5, and negative 3 1/10. So there they are, all three of them. And the question says, on which date did the temperature drop the fastest? So the faster it drops is a larger negative number. So let me get to my highlighter. And therefore, this is the largest negative number. So it's -3 1/10. So what I would say is -3 1/10 is farthest to the left. Okay. So then we do a therefore. So, or therefore, the temperature dropped the fastest. The temperature dropped the fastest on, right here, on January 10th, 1911. Okay, so there's a complete sentence answering the question. Okay, and so let me see if I can make this more legible too. I think it can do this. Recognize that. Recognize. It won't do that one. I don't really need to do this, but it just makes it neater. Okay. So there it is with print rather than my writing. But this still should be 3 dots. Okay, so -3/10 is farthest to the left. The temperature dropped the fastest on January 10th, 1911. So with this example being done now, you should be able to do numbers 20 through 23 on your exercises. Okay, so that brings us to the end of chapter 6.3. Thanks for watching, and go do your problem set.